All right, call the meeting to order. You gonna introduce David? You want me?
I'll do it. Yes, sir. I'll do it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming back out tonight. Tonight's meeting is primarily focused on our health insurance as we've gone over the last couple weeks. David and his team did put out an RFP this past winter on the street to try to see what other options were out there with our last 2 years of almost 30% increases in health insurance. So he has put together a presentation to present to the board tonight to kind of give you those results and kind of recommendations on where we are. So, David Rowe.
Thank you, Morgan. It was wild. Good evening, everybody. Wow. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, go ahead and give me one advance there. Here we go. So what I thought I'd do real quickly before we go into the results of the RFP of the procurement, just want to give you all a quick overview of what we do in terms of health insurance and why we do it. So Richmond County and Schools buys their health insurance jointly. You buy together, and you purchase that coverage through the Commonwealth of Virginia's program called the Local Choice. It's kind of the same concept as you don't have your own retirement program here. You go through the Virginia retirement system, right? Morgan, you all go through VACORP for your other insurances, other than health insurance, trying to be part of the biggest group that you can. And the Commonwealth's plan is the largest purchaser of health insurance in the state. Between the state employees and about 330 local governments, school divisions, regional jails, water and sewer authorities, regional airports, under the buying power, under the buying auspices of the state, they buy for about 125,000 employees. And it's huge. That is by far Anthem's largest group in the state. When I used to work at Anthem, our second largest group was Dominion Virginia Power. They only had 30-some thousand contracts. The state has 125. So that gives you some sense of the scale. People will ask me, well, David, especially when we've had tough renewals like we've had in Richmond County, people will say, well, David, why don't we band together with Middlesex and Essex, Northumberland, and do our own thing? Well, why would we when we're already part of the largest buying consortium in the state? And because of their buying power, again, by far the largest client for Anthem, we are able to get fixed cost savings or the cost to run the insurance program much lower than we could get if we tried to buy on our own. And I'll show you some of those examples. Okay, so kind of the sobering reality of what we've been through the last 2 years, and I'll share some historical information with you as well. But over the past 2 years, as Morgan said, we've experienced almost a 30% increase in health insurance costs. 15% last year. That should have been higher if we were not with Local Choice. And then this year, a 12.3% increase. And again, this is all driven by utilization. This isn't, someone's not waving a magic wand. It's kind of like, if you think about it, I was going to say your checkbook register, but I'm probably one of the old timers that still keeps a checkbook register. Some people do, or you look online at your bank account. So if you think about it this way, Richard, you don't do that? No. When you're thinking about your checking account, when you get paid, that's a deposit, right? That's a credit. And as you write checks or use the ATM or use your debit card, you're making withdrawals against that deposit, right? It's the same thing with our health insurance or any of your insurances. So when Denise sends a payment to Anthem every month, that's a mixture of both employee money that she takes out of their paychecks and the county's contribution. That's our deposit. And then as our people go to the doctor, the hospital, we're writing checks against that deposit, right? And what happens at the end of the year? We have a settlement. And we've been upside down in the program for the last 2 years, and that's why we've had increases. Again, I'm going to show you some of these details in a minute, but by being with the state's program, by being with Local Choice, our renewals have been better, much better than they would have if we were not. Oh. This is kind of hard. Yeah, there you go, Hope. Yeah, well, perfect. So what you'll see, I sit down with Morgan, Denise, Dr. Davis, Susan Johns, every quarter, and we're looking at your claims quarter by quarter. Our goal is to make sure that leadership team in the county and the schools know what we're going to be facing for our next renewal. And we're getting ready to sit down and look at the data. We'll probably do it later this month for our first quarter for our FY23 renewal, so our July of 22 renewal. But this is just a sample. This is actually the renewal underwriting analysis that matches up with your July 1 renewal. And so again, I know there are a lot of numbers on that page, but it's basically just a calculation like I just walked you through. You can see circled in red, we were anticipating a 21.5% increase, okay? That's what the math said. Two things happened to help us with that number. First of all, I knew you were going to be an outlier. The state looks at this and goes, you know, Richmond County has had 2 bad years. We're not going to let them experience a 21% renewal in our program. So they put about 4% on the table because you were an outlier group, because your experience was outside of what their program was experiencing. Second thing that happened this year to help us, the state holds the self-funded reserves for this program. So what I mean by that is we get guaranteed rates that are good for 12 months. If you perform poorly throughout the year, you're going to see a renewal increase at the next renewal, but no one is coming after you for any additional money, okay? So the reserves of the program are held by the state, and what they did this year, when that reserve pot of money gets too large, the state smartly gives part of that money back to the member groups in this program, and every group in the program this year got an additional 4% credit at renewal. I told the team here to prepare for a 15% increase. I pulled out every stop, every plea that I had. Just so you all know, Richmond County has been in this program since its inception in 1989. And I let them know that at the state, that we were having 2 tough years, we needed some help, so we ended up with a 12.3% increase. Does that make sense, kind of how we do this? Hope. Perfect. I wanted to give you all some historical information about our renewals, because I think it's important to keep all of this in perspective. So going back to fiscal year 2014, that's the year that we allowed the school division to come on our plan here in Richmond County. And I can tell you, Morgan's going to disagree with me, but you know, if the schools were on their own for health insurance and they had a bad year, at some point you all are going to have to help them with that. So your larger communities, Chesterfield County and Schools, Henrico County and Schools, City of Richmond and Schools, Hanover County and Schools, all buy together, local government and school division, because I think the thought process is it's one community. So we buy together, and I think that's a good thing. So then first time we got a renewal as a combined entity was fiscal year 2015. We got a 4.3% increase. 2016, a 3.9% increase. Fiscal year 2017, we were flat. Fiscal year 2018, 2.7% increase. 19 and 20 fiscal years, both flat again. So no increase. And then we hit last year and this year. Oh, flip one more page for me. So if you look at an 8-year average of our renewals, including the 15% from last year, including the 12.3% increase for this year, our 8-year average increase is 4.76%. If you look at what just trend is for medical plans, the state uses 6.5%. We're below trend for our increases. If I pull the 2 ugly years out, It's a 1.8% increase for the 6 years prior to the 2 tough years. Oh, okay. So we knew we were going to have a tougher renewal this year. I thought it was probably going to come in somewhere in line with what we experienced last year. We committed to the county and to the schools that we would do a full marketing of our medical program, and so we did that this year. And what I'm going to show you here, well, let me start at the bottom. So we went out to all the carriers who could provide us with a quote here in Richmond County. And because we're in the states program, you saw that Aetna, Cigna, and Optima, and Optima is the insurance company for the Centera facilities down in Tidewater. I thought they might take a run at our account. They declined to quote because they could not be competitive against our rates. So here's what we had. We had the renewal from the local choice, the TLC renewal. You can see the amount in terms of dollars, and these are gross dollars. This isn't what the county shares, split from the employee share. So the amount over current, $231,000, or the 12.3% increase that we experienced. I knew Anthem, fully insured and self-funded, would give us a proposal. You can see that Anthem, fully insured, and again, this would be on benefits not as good as what we have today. It was going to be their Health Keepers product or an HMO-based product. You can see that they came in as close as they could get to our current benefit level at a 26.8% increase. Even Anthem self-funded, and I think I told the whole team behind me, if you guys in Richmond County wanted to stand alone and be self-funded on your own, someone else would be helping you with that. That would not be me. But self-funded, expected liability, okay? What was Anthem expecting your cost would look like for the next 12 months? You can see that represents a 14.3% increase. And when you're self-funded, truly standalone self-funded, you pay your own claims plus your fixed cost every month. You can see the maximum liability. So if we had a really tough year, the maximum liability would be 38.2%. And then United Healthcare, my poor rep from United Healthcare, he's up in Maryland. I don't think he quite understood what he was bidding against. He was so excited about his proposal. And we said, I think his name is John. I said, John, buddy, you're 41.4% above current, so you are not a player. But they did provide us with a proposal. Does that make sense? I know that's a lot to take in, but I think the story I'm trying to tell you is the story that I told the team behind me. Even though we've had 2 tough renewals, we're right where we need to be. I think the employees are happy with our benefits, at least I hope they are, and we are right where we need to be in terms of who we're partnered with for our health insurance. Okay, so what does all this mean? That's great data, David, it's great information. So what does it really mean? As painful as the past 2 years have been, and I know they're painful, this is a small community. You all are trying to build reserves, have a fund balance, be able to make sure that you're in a position to handle unexpected expenses. The takeaway from all this is we would be much worse off if we were not partnered with the state for our health insurance. Oh. Okay, so next steps. I felt like I had to give you all at least some hope tonight. Some hope. So I had Matt, who works on my team, pull your most recent set of data. So again, looking at, this will be the first quarter that we look at your FY23 renewal. It's all about a loss ratio. So a loss ratio is just your claims divided by your premium. We just experienced an 89.6% quarter. This is for data ending February 28th. So we added an 89.6% loss ratio quarter, dropped 125.7% loss ratio quarter. So a huge spread there in the right direction. To my point, claims experience is cyclical. We had been running so well for so long, we hit a spike. but it will come down, and it looks like things are starting to normalize for us, okay? Just kind of keep in mind, if you've got somewhere around an 80% loss ratio, that's about a no change renewal. So at 89.6, what would that kind of make you think? Maybe projecting a single digit increase for next year. And again, we're only 1 quarter in, so things can change, but we definitely did better than we have been doing. So I hope that's encouraging. We did remove our richest plan offering last year. Candidly, financially, we had to. And I'm sure you got some pushback. It was our Key Advantage 250 plan. I know a lot of the employees here like that plan a lot, but we did have to remove that plan last year in terms of being fiscally prudent. And again, with health insurance, if David was the king, and I'm not, but if David was the king, we would offer just one high deductible plan. We'd be really serious about our health savings account, because you want the employees, you want the users of this stuff to have some skin in the game. So I liked it that we pulled the 250 plan last year. We've got 3 very nice plans that we offer our employees. And then again, my job as we move forward is to drive what I'm expecting these renewals to look like. It's my job to drive that process with Anthem and the state to make sure that this community gets the best health insurance renewal that it can. All right, so those are my prepared remarks. You all have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Mr. Pemberton, you look pensive, like you have a big question.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, again, guys, I know that it's been 2 tough years, but hopefully we're getting back to where we've been in the past. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you all very much.
David, could you hang out for 10 minutes?
Absolutely.
I want to thank David and his team. We give David a hard time a lot of times about getting our insurance rates down and saving money with insurance rates, but he really does a really good job fighting for Richmond County and for the schools and our health insurance. Like he said, our numbers could have been much higher, and having him on our team when it comes to health insurance is something that we're fortunate to have. So, David and Matt, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to just touch on some of the real details of this insurance plan. He gave you a lot of the numbers on the renewals. I guess I want to give you just a little bit more of the details of kind of how this affects our employees. I'm not going to go over these 2 charts much. They're in your presentation that I printed out for you. But you will see that there is a comparison chart of FY21 and FY22 that does show the 3 different plans. We are recommended the exact same offering this year: Key Advantage 250, Key Advantage 500, and the high deductible health plan. So no recommended changes to the offering. So I hope if you go down just to where we start. So we pay, and this is not applicable to the school system, this is just county employees at this point, but Richmond County pays 80% of the employee, 20% of the dual and family coverage. And so based off of our new premiums, Richmond County, as the employer, will be required to pay a minimum of $600 per month for our employees. Recommendation is that we increase that $600 to $615 to help offset a little bit of this increase. It's going to cost the county about $8,000 to $10,000 more annually, but you'll see at the bottom, Key Advantage 500, which is our best plan. Currently, our employees are paying $117 a month. With this new plan, with this new rate, they will go to $154 a month for the Key Advantage 500 offering. If we didn't offer that additional $15 kind of to buffer this hit a little bit, their premium would be $169. So $117 to $154 with that $15 a month buffer. And then you'll see the Key Advantage 1000 going up $19 a month from 96 to 115. That 115 would be $130 without offering that buffer. So I would make that recommendation. It is in the budget. As Denise and I went back through the health insurance line by line, After we got these numbers and prior to this meeting, there is $10,000 in the budget already. No adjustments need to be made, that we could offer this additional $15 per month to our employees if we wish to do so. With the proposed 5% salary increases, I've done some math, I've taken different salaries from different employees based off of different plans, and I do not believe that there are any employees that will see a reduced paycheck for FY22 as a result of a 12.3% health insurance increase. So that will be affected to varying degrees, depending on your salary, depending on the health plan that you take, if you're a family, a dual, or a single. And so with that, I guess I just want to bring up kind of the future of our county health insurance. We've had some of these conversations in the past 4 or 5 years. Nothing that's really ever come to a decision, but I really just wanted to bring it up, and we don't have to make this tonight. I just want to put it in front of you. But we pay 20% of our families for health insurance, 80% of the employee, 20% of the family, which costs about $65,000 to $70,000 a year additional to pick up that 20%. Did not know if the board had any interest in phasing out the 20% we pay for our employees that are on a dual or a family. And I would recommend that if we did choose to do that path, that we would go a grandfather route. We've got 16 employees of our 58 currently that are on a dual or family plan. So 16 of our 58 employees that take our health coverage would be affected by them. If we were to do a grandfather route, essentially if you're an employee of the county and you're on a dual or a family plan, the 20% continues as long as you're employed with Richmond County. Same thing with the next item. This was brought up, I believe, at the last board meeting as well, talking about our health insurance for Board of Supervisors members. Currently, we offer health insurance to Board of Supervisors members pretty much at the exact same rate that an employee has, 80% funded by the county, 20% by the board member. Costs the county about $22,000 annually to offer that to our Board of Supervisors members. And again, consideration of potentially phasing that out. Not phasing out the fact that a Board of Supervisors member could be on the county's health insurance plan, but if that board member in the future wanted to be on the health insurance plan, it would be 100% their cost. So really just those two things to consider. Is that the last slide, Hope, on health insurance? Yeah, let's stay here for a minute. So just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what David's numbers, as he's talking about 12.3%, you know, what the real effect is to our employees. It does mean increased monthly premiums. If we're able to buffer it a little bit each month, the school board is doing a little bit of a buffer. I can't remember their number that they're going with, but they are providing a little bit of a buffer too to help absorb this blow. But it's, you know, RFP in this past year was the right thing to do. We talked about it in the FY21 budget. Seeing these increases, I think we owed it to both our employees that are affected by this, as well as our taxpayers that help fund this, to make sure that we were providing the best plan we could at the best cost we did. And I think David and his team did a good job. I think we see that the results were not in our favor of going somewhere else. Fully recommend remaining with the local choice. We do have to make that decision soon. We ask for an extension that's usually due by April the 1st of every year. Local choice does give a 30-day extension when a county hadn't really fully made up their mind. We asked David to relay the message to them a couple weeks ago to give us a 30-day extension to May the 1st. So do need to move on that pretty quickly. But certainly 30% almost over the last 2 years is no fun, but I think it's a plan that suits us the best, and it's where we get the best benefit. So hopefully we can stay with it, and hopefully our results, like you said, will continue to trend down. You know, it's all based off of our claims, and hopefully we can get these numbers down over the next couple of years.
Do you need a motion from us to?
No, I don't. I just need general consensus from y'all that, you know, I don't think you saw anything on the screen that would lead you anywhere else. I don't think it's a terribly tough decision. I just need some sort of consensus for y'all to let the state know that we're gonna re-up with this plan.
I'm good with it. Yeah, fine.
Can you make that notification?
Absolutely. Am I to 6:15? Is that what we're doing, 6:15, plus continuing an additional 20%?
I mean, the 615, if the board's okay with providing that additional $15 a month buffer to the employees to help bring those costs down a little bit, it's in the budget. It's not going to affect us a tremendous amount. I think it'd be a nice thing to be able to provide if we can.
Very good.
All right, you're done.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. The rest of the meeting should be fairly brief. We had two changes to the budget from the last meeting on March 15th, I believe it was. Y'all had asked that we increase $1,000 to the sheriff's office budget for their body camera program, increase that from $1,500 to $2,500, which has been done. And Mr. Pemberton asked that we get social services local funding up to an even $330,000. That was an increase of $3,156. That has been done. So that's a total change of $4,156. And as we go to revenue side of things, you will see some revenues that I have changed in order to accommodate these increases. Increased $156 to the mobile home taxes line item. That was really just a balancing number to get that right. That's a number that for the past couple of years has brought in 12.5 to 13.3, so that number is fine. Have increased $5,000 to our taxes on records and wills. Again, a budget number that was fairly conservative and is still fairly conservative. An increase of $5,000 to our building permits and to our land development fees. You have on your board agenda for Thursday some discussion over building permit fees and land development fees. I will say that whatever decision that the board makes does not impact this revenue. This revenue is a conservative one as well over the last couple of years. So if the board does choose to let us increase some of those fees moving forward, you'll only see more. It's not dependent on that. Just want to make sure you know that. Increased $1,000 to the Commissioner of the Revenues revenue line from the State Compensation Board as I went back and looked at their numbers. Increased $1,000 from the VPSA debt service refund. That was the bond that was refunded last fall through VPSA for a school bond from 2012. I did decrease $13,000 to expenditure refunds because I just could not remember why I put it in the budget. And I know that it was put in the budget for a specific reason, but I just could not explain to y'all where that $13,000 was. So I took that increase out. That budget goes back from $915,000 to $902,000. I couldn't sleep because I couldn't remember it. So anyway, I had to get that out just to make myself. So anyway, your total revenue increase at that point, it balances out to the $4,156. In front of you also is the budget advertisement that has been prepared based off of that budget. I don't know what other details, if any, you want to go through tonight. We're prepared to go through whatever it is you'd like to go through. But this would be the budget advertisement that would go in the newspaper next Wednesday for a April the 29th public hearing, same time, same place, 7 o'clock here. You'll see the beginning fund balance estimated to be about $1 million. We ended last year at about $830 in our unassigned fund balance. I think that $1 million is fairly conservative as well. I would think that we're going to be more in the 1.2 range as we get through the end of this year. You'll see the revenue estimates balancing out at $27,925 with the expenditure estimates balancing out at $27,925, an increase of $1,128,850. If you could go down a little bit more, Hope. You'll see our tax rates, no change in our tax rates. Change to our car tax from 46% to 45%.
All right, anybody have any questions on the budget? Anybody need to look at any details? All right, then we need a motion to publish
So moved.
Second.
Hold on a second.
And that would be the advertised budget and the advertised tax rates.
Okay, any discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Morgan.
Thank y'all.
It's a lot of work, thank you. All right, you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right, does anyone,
You do.
I do,
Okay.
just wanna let anybody else first. Anyone else have anything to bring before the board? All right, we, are the private owner of a tractor.
Okay.
There's a picture of it sitting at the EMS building. The tractor is actually larger than Morgan and I had been looking at. We had enough money in the budget to, if you look at the front of it, it has pallet forks we got with it, and it's got a woods bushwhacker mower behind it.
And a blade.
Huh?
And you got a blade.
And we got, that's right, we do. We got a woods blade for it.
Get a bucket? Did you get a
The
bucket?
bucket came with the tractor, the bucket's
Okay.
Kubota.
But yeah, okay.
The bucket's somewhere else, they were going,
That's
they had some pallets down there they wanna move, and that's why it's sitting down there with a fork on it.
Well,
No, we got a bucket, pallet forks, we got a blade for the back, and a bush hog.
And it has already been used. We had last Saturday, the fire department and EMS had a training day for extrication out there for vehicle extrication. And so they used the forks on the tractor to be able to move vehicles around, to get them in places, get them turned over, you know, to be able to simulate them without someone else having to do them. So Chief Paulette said it was great. He's bush hogged with it as well. I'm working with our maintenance guys to build an enclosure at our shop facility. The tractor's too big to fit into that long skinny building, so we're gonna come off the side of that. I know lumber prices, it's not a huge hurry, we've got some room right now in EMS, but we wanna come off the side with an enclosed lean-to with an actual door to fit everything in there, you know, bush hog and all if possible, so we don't have to, you know, make it plenty big. So came in at $33,790 for all of that, legally. It's a used tractor, but it's not used. It had 1.7 hours on it. It was sold by a John Deere dealership. What happened is a gentleman in the Shenandoah Valley got a little ticked off with his John Deere friends. They wouldn't call him back, so he said, "I'll show you. I'll buy a Kubota." He bought the Kubota. The next day, he figured out he didn't like the Kubota. Wanted a John Deere. So he called James River in Burkeville and said, "I got this tractor for trade-in." Came in and I think we got a probably $33,000 or $34,000 tractor for $29,000.
We think it was either $5,000 or $6,000 cheaper.
They delivered it a couple weeks ago, so there it is.
I'm glad to see you moving up,
We're moving up.
moving up the Kubota. I got two of them, and love them.
Well, we looked at a hydro, the only difference is this one is a shuttle shift, not a hydro. For what we're gonna do with it, I think it'll, and the money we save to be able to get the extra pieces of equipment.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
I just happened to be on the internet looking, and this thing popped up. I told Morgan, I said, "You know anybody in Burkeville?" So he called Burkeville,
I wanted to.
and that was a Friday afternoon, and he said somebody was supposed to come look at it Saturday, but they gonna call us Monday. They called us Monday and said the guy never showed up, so he didn't want a tractor very bad. A 54 horsepower tractor for $29,000. It had, I think it had 1.3 hours on it when I got on it the day of that. Huh?
Does that have to have that depth stuff? The depth?
No,
No.
it regens.
Regen stuff?
Yeah.
In the shed process building, you might want to consider a pallet rack, and then you could store your forks or your bucket up on that, and that'll maybe shorten your building a little bit.
Okay.
Because that'll allow you not to have to pull one piece of equipment up to get to the other one behind.
Right.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay.
But anyway, there it is.
Well, that's good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we kind
Long
of,
it happened?
you'll never find another, walk into another deal like that.
No, we're good.
He bought it in February, because I've got I carried the books home with me to read up on the operation of the Kubota. And the day he bought it and everything is written right on the outside of the book.
Four-wheel drive too, that makes it nice.
Yep. And it had ag cars on it, so what do you want to do with it?
Yep, perfect.
Does what's his name know about it down in the field yet?
He does. Yes, I've talked to him about it. We're gonna get it out there one day soon. We gotta buy a trailer next, and we're working through that now to transport it. We could drive it, on
Right.
the road, but getting a trailer will be our next thing, and we've got that money in the budget.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna get it out there. We just had that site chipped about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
So the site should be pretty empty for the spring. I'd
Right.
like to get that shipped in March to get it ready for the spring and summer. But we'll get out there and start pushing it up as it comes out.
Right.
Might save us some money throughout the year, being able to stack it better.
Right.
Mike can go every 2 years instead of every year if we can push it and we'll maintain plenty of space.
Thank you.
Like a winner to me.
All right, anybody else have anything? If not, we in recess until, look, we are,
We got a meeting Thursday, you're
right,
adjourned.
we are adjourned.
Yeah.
Thank you.